Hello, my name is Ben,
And my name is Josh.
and welcome back to FPL Graduates. Now, we didn't do a review last week, did we? We didn't have time. We went straight into just into FPL Fridays, didn't we? So we're back again with another game week review. We're reviewing game week 28, and I mean, it was a bit of a weird one, wasn't it? Not many points across the board, and not too much in terms of huge rank changes for anyone, really.
Yeah, I agree. I was saying on the TikTok Live, I think only Vardy was the main guy out of the premiums who actually did get a return, which is kind of mental.
Yeah, I mean, let's get straight into it. Josh, you've got your team ready and waiting. Let's see how you did this week. Talk us through your week.
Yeah, so 46, it was actually really disappointing this week. A lot of things could have gone a lot of different ways. I think that's the same case for pretty much everyone. A little tiny 10k red arrow, I think, at the minute. So not ideal, but we'll get started into the team. Martinez, 3-pointer. Aston Villa game just summed up the weekend. Without a doubt, it was the first game on the Friday, and Aston Villa conceding their clean sheet with the last kick of the game, basically. And then obviously Martinez and El Mohammadi both in bonus points. Just a nightmare scenario. If they get both return, I get a good game week this week, which is very gutting. But not ideal from Aston Villa's point of view. Luke Shaw, 9-pointer. The guy's just unreal. 25 points in the last 2 game weeks. It's very good numbers from him. He's returned in the last 4 as well. So can't ask for more from Luke Shaw. He's doing bits right now. Looks like Man United's best player without a doubt. Cancelo, likewise. A lot of people obviously chucking him out after this game week, but he's ended on a good note with the assist and the clean sheet. It's going to be tough not owning him because he's very good when he does play. It's just the fact that he doesn't play all the time. Ben White was a sub. He didn't actually start. I'll get onto the subs in a bit. Same with Rafinha. He was also a sub with a 3-pointer for Leeds. I didn't see a 0-0 coming in that game, but goes to show how boring Chelsea can be. Bruno Fernandes, 3-pointer. United, just in general, that game, West Ham United was a terrible game. Lucky to win for Man United, but that's just the way Moyes set out. He just didn't set out very positive. Bale, 1-pointer, even more disappointing as he got taken off before 60 after Son got injured. Mourinho just had a terrible performance, in my opinion, in that game. Don't know why he's subbing off Bale at 1-1 in the North London derby when clearly Arsenal are not a great team right now. DCL with the only second attacking return of the week other than Cancelo. He's got his goal, which is not bad. He might also be coming out this week. My 2 only attacking returns might be coming out. Harry Kane, captain, hit the post, got an offside goal. He pretty much came as close as you can to returning without actually returning. Bit gutting, but we move. First captain blank in a little while for me. I think 5 weeks, so not ideal, but we move. And then Bamford, 1-pointer. He obviously came off in the first half as well with an injury. Apparently, it's only a dead leg, as what I've heard, but we'll wait and see on that. On the bench, though, Pep Roulette struck with a bit of Gundogan. Weren't too bothered just because of his ownership, so he wouldn't really boost me up the rank anyway. The big disappointment was Aubameyang, though. Obviously didn't turn up on time for the game, and that left him out of the team entirely. Apparently left early as well from the game, so he might not even feature this week, which is mental. And then Struijk with a 6-pointer on my bench, even though he was red flagged, which is absolutely class. Not a great week for me. What do you think, Ben?
Yeah, I mean, it's not a bad week considering. Like, I've seen a lot worse scores. I mean, the players that you had off the bench, I think, were kind of the difference probably for everyone between having a good week and a bad week, to be honest. I think if you had one of the defenders who got the points this week, because there's a week of defenders really that got most of the points. I don't think many players that are high owned got attacking returns. So it's good that you got Shaw and Cancelo in there for this week. And it's almost not. I think you're on a green arrow, right? Or are you
a little 10k red one?
Yeah, so it's not too bad at all. Like I said, it could have been a whole lot worse, and it probably couldn't have been much better, to be honest. But yeah, I'll get into my team for this week, and it's a pretty similar story, to be honest. Here it is now. So, as you can see, 53 points for this week. It's not too bad. Areola, 2 points. I mean, I said at the start of the week that I'd probably be happy with him getting 3 points because he's playing Man City, and he did get a save point. He just conceded one too many goals, which is a bit unfortunate. But, I wasn't expecting too much from my keeper this week, considering I got McCarthy on my bench and he didn't play anyway. In defence, the double up on the City boys worked a bit of a treat. I knew Cancelo was going to play, and it would have been the best choice for captaincy this week, which is surprising. But, it's always the safe option. City away at Fulham, you don't think they're going to concede any goals there. Ruben Dias got me 6 points. Not the best considering Stones returned as well, but, we'll take that, and it kind of keeps up with the rest of the top 10K. Target 4-pointer. This one hurt. He was on for a 12-pointer before the Premier League decides to rob him of an assist, and then he lost that clean sheet in the last minute. Still managed 2 bonus points, but it could have been 3 and an attacking return and a clean sheet. So bit of a tough one to take. Cresswell 2-pointer. I genuinely thought that West Ham could keep a clean sheet against Man United. They defensively played well enough to keep that clean sheet. It's just, you lapse of concentration at West Ham for 1 second and the clean sheet goes. It's an unlucky pick. I still think it was a good one to go with this week, but, it didn't work and we move. Rafinha 3 points. I mean, Leeds don't look great right now, and I know a lot of people have a triple up on Leeds, and I probably wouldn't even want to double up on Leeds at the moment, to be completely honest with you. Trossard, 10-pointer off the bench. I mean, what more do I need to say about this bloke? He was first on my bench. He came on for Gundogan, and he did the business. And I brought him in this week for Salah, and he has tripled his points for this week. So can't ask for much more out of my 0.7% owned Leandro Trossard. Son, disappointing that he came off injured. Hopefully he's all right. I think we'll learn a bit more on Thursday how he's getting on and whether he'll be all right to play. I highly doubt he's going to play, so it might be a consideration to take him out for 29. Bruno Fernandes 3-pointer. I mean, he's kind of getting to the point where he's not getting as many returns as he used to, not as many jammy returns. And let's hope soon enough he'll get the jam back. Calvert-Lewin, 6-pointer. Not too bad at all. Everton played poorly and Calvert-Lewin had multiple chances to score. So come away with a goal. I'll take that considering. And Kane, like Josh said, no idea how he didn't return. He probably should have at least had 1 goal. And the only annoying thing on the bench for me is Dallas on the bench for 6 points. But it's one of them ones where I'm not losing out too much because overall this week everyone's had a pretty poor week. But 53 points overall. Yeah,
decent week. It's the difference between me and you is probably that Trossard pick, to be fair. A big play by you and outscoring Mo Salah. I mean, a lot of people have done that recently. He's only returned in 3 of the last 15 game weeks, which is absolutely mental. It's just these premium assets just don't seem to be returning at a consistent rate like we usually assume that they always do.
Yeah, it's one of them situations where it's at that point in the season we've just had a massive amount of fixtures in one go, and you can see some of these players are fatigued. I mean, we saw Salah had a goal disallowed, didn't he? So, I mean, are the goals coming for Salah? I'm not too sure. I think Josh is going to turn into the main man for Liverpool for the rest of the season.
Half the price as well.
Yeah, so I mean, especially looking to the next few weeks, Liverpool's fixtures do turn quite nice, and they do have quite a nice run of fixtures in a couple of weeks. So definitely looking towards at least having 1 cheap Liverpool player in, rather than go for the expensive options of Salah, Mane. I mean, Firmino. If you somehow have him, I don't know what you're doing, but should we look into game week 29? Just a little preview into what we thinking, what we need to do. I'll start with my team, and we'll bring it up again, and we'll go through like the sort of planning that I'm looking to do. Let's go into pick team. And for me, at the moment, this is how it's looking. And yeah, there's a couple of players there that I need to get rid of. I'm looking to make 2 transfers. I'm looking to get Gundogan and Cancelo out. And I'm going to bring in probably Lingard and Lewis Dunk, maybe. I'm not too sure yet. There's not too many options. That would be for a -4. Now, if I wanted to, I'd probably be able to get away with playing a -8 and taking Son out too and field a full 11. It's going to be a waiting game for me, though, I think, because I have that feeling, and we've had that feeling for weeks now, that Jack Grealish is on the verge of returning. So if we get the green light from Dean Smith, and I know how, he's a bit hit and miss with players. He'll tell you one thing and do something else. So we'll have to keep an eye out on that. But Grealish definitely on my watch list for 29. And then once I've used this team for 29, the idea for me is going to Gameweek 30 or 31 with the wildcard, go over the international break with my wildcard, just like Josh did on his international break. I think that's the smartest choice, really. Is to play your wildcard over the international break if you still have it. And then I can really get and attack these last, how many games left of the season we got? 10 or so. Mm-hmm. And just attack them like that. Now, Josh, what do you think of this strategy? Could it work, or do you think it'll backfire for me?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting because, right now, I couldn't think of anything worse than playing a wild card, just because no one's in form, and it's really, really hard to predict who's going to be in form. But it's definitely not the worst place to be in, because you can just pick and choose who you want to bring in. I think the fixtures, like you said, do change a lot going forward. Liverpool have quite a nice run. We have the likes of Spurs and City. I think they blank in 33. So it's going to be interesting who you pick. Fulham as well, blank in that game week. So it's going to be very, very interesting. I know a lot of people are hopping off the Man City players, which is quite worrying because obviously they're still very high owned. So for me, for example, after this week, I only have 1 City player, and that'll be Gundogan. So not really ideal. It's going to be, like I said, it's going to be interesting what people do. I think you're going to see a lot of different teams. No one's really going to have a template team going forward.
Yeah, I think the template is just about to be smashed up, especially with Sonny potentially being out injured. I mean, the muscular injury, it usually is 2 or 3 weeks, isn't it, before he'll come back. So you hope it was just a little scare and it wasn't anything serious. But of course, we won't know until press conferences and at least until probably after the game on Thursday how serious it actually is. But yeah, Josh, what are you sort of planning for the up and coming game weeks?
Yeah, so I'm a similar boat to you. I've got, I think, 9 eligible players currently. So a -4 will be taken this week. Who comes in and who goes out is still yet to be decided. Right now, I've got Areola in goal over Martinez, just because I don't fancy Leeds. I've got a Leeds triple up, which is just because that's how I planned it with my wild card. Obviously, I've done my wild card quite a while ago. So the likes of Ben White, El Mohammadi, etc., they were in there from then. So it's interesting. I think Fulham are decent defensively. I can't see Leeds, say, scoring 5 goals against them, whereas Villa recently have been very lucky to be getting their clean sheets. If you look at the goals conceded, should have conceded, like XGC, Aston Villa are right down there. I think they're 16th in terms of that. So not great. Cancelo's probably going to come out, like I said, when I was reviewing the team. Cresswell, I need to get him in somehow, which will be just a straight swap for him. I've missed Nolan Cresswell since I wildcarded due to West Ham's poor fixtures, but he'll be coming straight back in. They've got some decent fixtures going forward. Ben White is probably the worst Brighton defensive asset you could pick. We've seen Lewis Dunk. He's quite a bit more expensive than White. I think 0.6 more. But he gets a lot of attacking returns, Lewis Dunk. And even Veltman, I think he's had some of the most shots in the box for any defender in the league. So I think those two are better options than Ben White. El Mohammadi, whether he plays or not, is a big question. I hope he does. I got away with it against Newcastle that he did play. Obviously, he didn't return. I hope he does play, because if he doesn't, no one's going to be coming in for him. So I'll just leave him there. I'm not really too bothered if he doesn't, because I understand, obviously, got quite lucky with him playing as it is. Strike. Cooper was ill at the weekend, hence why he played. Llorente and Koch, I think, are back, or Llorente's been back for a while. Koch was playing for the under-23s. So, again, interesting with him, because I don't know if he does play. I think he's actually their best centre-back, which is surprising why Bielsa doesn't play him. Bale, hopefully Mourinho just keeps him on the pitch, because he was fuming to come off, and so was I. So let's hope he stays. Aubameyang's an interesting one, because there's a lot of question marks in this team right now. I'd say there's probably maybe 4 or 5 players that I've got who have a game that aren't maybe not going to play. Aubameyang's one of those. If he does play, and I know he's going to play, he probably will be my captain. I can see him scoring against West Ham. West Ham, again, haven't looked too great defensively. Even against United, they were playing literally like 11 men behind the ball, still managed to concede. So not great from them, but I think Aubameyang's a good shout. And we've got the likes of Rafinha, great player. Not much needs to be said about him. Kane, likewise. Calvert-Lewin will be making way. Either Ollie Watkins, Antonio, not sure who I'm going to go with, but, you know, it waits to be seen. And then Bamford, like I mentioned, dead leg, maybe. Not for sure yet. I think he'll stay anyway, because after Gameweek 30, he has Sheffield United, and I think they're the team to target right now.
Yeah, you've got like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 players who are debatable whether they even start or not, to be honest, in their respective teams. So, yeah, I mean, it might be worth taking that -4 to get in players who you know are going to start, because otherwise it could be a lower scoring week for you. I'm surprised that you've got Aubameyang on captaincy based on what we've heard at the moment. I'm sure, like I said, Thursday, you probably know a lot more about
definitely
what Arteta's actually thinking, because we'll see what happens there. Struijk, I don't know if I see him playing. He's definitely holding on to that spot at the moment that he's got. Same with El Mohammadi. As soon as Matty Cash is ready, he's just a lot better fullback, isn't he?
Definitely.
El Mohammadi is not a good footballer in the Premier League. So, yeah, you got to hope. I mean, last week we were surprised that he was playing. So, this week potentially not playing. So, yeah, it's a bit of a sticky one. You potentially, because you haven't got your wild card, you're not looking too ideal, and you might have to make a couple of transfers here or there after 29. But
yeah,
I can see for the long term, it's decent. It's decent.
Yeah, I think this week especially, like obviously it's a lot made up about the blank game week, but I don't think it's going to be as cut and dry, because the fixtures you've seen, the likes of Arsenal, West Ham, Spurs, Villa, Fulham, Leeds, they're not great fixtures. I don't think you're going to lose or gain a lot of points this week. If you have 7, 8 players playing, I think you'll be fine, as long as you can pick the right captain and all of that sort of stuff. I don't think you'll lose too much. Obviously, we've seen, I think Callum Wilson's back in training for Newcastle. So that has muddied a lot of people. I've seen people with triple Brighton defence. And I think if Callum Wilson plays, Newcastle get a goal in that game. We thought they weren't going to score against Villa. They obviously managed to get that late goal, and they did look quite threatening, to be fair, against Villa. So it's going to be really interesting. I can't really call any of the 4 games. I think that's what's the toughest thing right now.
Yeah, I think one thing that you will be able to call is that Harry Kane's expected ownership will be over 150% potentially, which is why I'm almost steering away from captaining Kane, because I want to make a gain on overall rank, and I want to rise up, because I could cover him with another Spurs asset. Now, I'm looking at Gareth Bale. I'm not convinced by him, but I'm also looking at Lucas Moura, who actually was Spurs' best player in the North London derby, and at 7.5 million, something like that, could be worth that 1 week punt just to cover Kane, because I've got Kane in. Don't want to captain him for the rank, but if I have Lucas in, surely that's decent enough cover, because he does get forward, he does produce chances. He's playing centrally in behind Kane, so could produce the chances. Yeah, I'm kind of thinking that, but I don't know. It's a bit of a risk, isn't it, to not captain Kane?
Yeah, it's just going to be a week of punts, really, because obviously you've got such a small selection of pool of players that you can sort of rely on punts. I think covering Kane, his ownership will obviously be over 100%, but even having Kane like you do, it's not really going to be much of an issue because obviously it is doubled. I don't see Kane popping off against Villa. Like, I don't see him scoring, like, getting 4 attacking returns like he did with Palace. Yeah. I think they're a lot better than Palace defensively, so... it's going to be interesting. I can't call any one of those games. I feel like maybe 2 or 3 of those games could even end up 0-0. Like, it's one of those weeks.
Yeah, we're going to have to wait and see. We'll take a couple of questions now from the comments, see what everyone's asking, what everyone's thinking, because I know a lot of people have been a little bit worried about this game week because it snuck up on them. And now they've looked at their team and they've got no players. I mean, we had a TikTok comment the other day that said, why have I only got 5 players in my team?
Is it a glitch?
Is it a glitch? It's not a glitch. There's not many players playing this week. And I think like both of us are prepared pretty well for 429. We've got quite a few players in based my transfers, especially probably the last 6 or 7 game weeks around game week 29, and it hasn't. I would say it's done me all right. I probably would have had a bit of a bigger rank climb if I hadn't focused so much on it. But I mean, I'm ready. Liam says Gundogan to Trossard on a -4.
It's interesting. Now, yeah, it's interesting that one.
Question
you can go ahead because you've got him.
Yeah, I've got him. The question you've got to ask yourself is: do you see Trossard getting an assist or creating enough chances to get bonus points from that game? Because pretty much guaranteed to start after last game, guaranteed to get 2 points. So effectively, you've taken a -2 to get him in, if you think about it that way. So you've got to think, will he get just one attack and return? If you think he will, I think it's worth it. And with that Newcastle team, yes, they are defensively sorted in pieces, but Brighton are actually quite decent. Going forwards, they've got Pascal Gross in there, who produces some dangerous set pieces for Lewis Dunk. Trossard, when he ended up like sort of playing in behind Mopé at points in that game and picking up pockets of space in really dangerous areas. So I liked how he looked in that game. And I was looking at the FPL points and the stats. The points he's getting for a player that cheap is actually quite decent. He's getting a return once every 3 or 4 weeks, and it might not sound that great, but for 5.7, 5.8 million, he's round about there. For this week, it doesn't actually look too bad, and they've got a nice fixture. What more could you ask for? I think that's probably a sensible move, Gundogan to Trossard.
Yeah, I think it's a decent move. You've got to look at ahead because obviously game week 29 is not the end of the season. I think Brighton's 3 fixtures after that.
They got some
Man United, Arsenal, and I think maybe Leicester. So 3 not great fixtures. They then play Sheffield United after that, though. So
I think if you've got a wild card ready, then you don't even need to think about it, to be honest.
Yeah, Brighton players, if you have a wild card still remaining, or if you're free hitting, are perfect. Like Neil Maupay would be straight in my team if I had a wild card. I think he's so reliable in front of goal. You've seen him score loads of goals for Brighton and probably their most dangerous player going forward in terms of actual goal threat. So I think either Trossard, Maupay.
I was watching that Southampton game. Maupay didn't quite look at the races, but out of them Brighton assets, I'd probably say Pascal Gross is one of the best ones to have because he's on corners, he's on penalties, and his delivery is good, and Lewis Dunk's going to get on the end of him, isn't he? So I think even like I picked Trossard last week because it was just like that punt, and I'm going to have one of them like a couple of times a season, right? But Gross, I think, is the more sensible pick if you're going to pick one of these Brighton assets.
Yeah, I think, but at the end of the day, I think Gundo to Trossard. Yeah. I think Gundogan out is quite a smart move going forward. He doesn't look as threatening as what he once did, anyway.
Yeah, that leads us nicely into the next question, to be honest. Gundogan out this week and for the long term. What are we saying about that?
Yeah, Man City's really interesting because, like, obviously they chop and change so much, and without the double game weeks in there, you'll be going weeks without Man City players. Like we saw this week, obviously it's a single game week, and no De Bruyne, no Gundogan, no Sterling. Like all the big hitters were pretty much out for the City attack. So I think you could probably get away with going without him right now. I don't think he's instrumental to City as he was when Kevin De Bruyne was injured. He seems to be playing quite a deeper role and getting those lucky sort of returns, and they're going to dry out eventually. So for me, he's definitely closer to the exit than he is staying in. I don't know about you.
Yeah, I know he's not playing as further forward, is he? When De Bruyne is in the team, he's almost playing in defensive midfield, but he's still popping up with jammy returns. And I think because his ownership's so high, you've got to be concerned about that slightly. But for this week, I'm fine with bringing Gundogan out, and I imagine on the wild card, I'll be thinking about bringing him back in, but I'll just have to wait and see about that one because there are some good options that City team. I think I like the defenders too much, Even
It's
though the
interesting though, because they haven't been keeping clean sheets much recently.
I think it's because they've been playing so many games that they have no option but to force the rotation. I think when City seal that Carabao Cup, they go through the Champions League, have a little bit of break before the next one. Maybe we'll see a bit more consistency towards the end of the season with their centre-back pairings.
Yeah, I think, Ruben Diaz is nailed without a doubt. The only time he missed out is through illness. So
yeah,
he'd be my go-to. I don't know if I would double up in defence or even double up on City if I had a wild card going forward. I think the rotation there is just a bit too much. And to be honest, they're not really free-flowing going forward right now until they start really putting their act together, which I don't think they need to do going forward. I think they can just cruise along the season with these 1-2-0s. We've seen Riyad Mahrez popping up with goals. Obviously, he then got benched for Fulham. I think to save yourself a headache, you could probably go elsewhere and get someone who's lower owned and maybe could get you that little rank climb.
Yeah. Glenn's commented, should I bring in Smith Rowe for 1 week? I think Glenn's got quite a lot of problems in his team for Gameweek 29, if I saw earlier. I think he's only got about 5 players now. So Smith Rowe.
I think it's a no-brainer. 4.2 million, and you can just keep him in your team because realistically, after this, you're not going to need a strong bench realistically, and even so, Smith Rowe still plays quite a lot. He's yet to score in the Premier League, but I think he's a very good player, and it's just that price, 4.2 million. It just enables you to do so much with the rest of your team, and he's still playing and in a dangerous Arsenal side when he does play.
Yeah, I mean, I know you say about the not having a strong bench. At least I think you still need at least 2 strong players on the bench that will play. But yeah, I mean, I've still got my bench boost, so I've still got to take that into consideration when building my wildcard team. And I mean, I saw someone the other day who they messaged us on Instagram and said, "What do you think of my team?" I opened it up and looked at it. They had a full 11 and 3 subs for this week. They had all these players. I was like, that is some planning that's gone into that. Wild card in 30 or game week 31?
Oh, why don't you can go with that because you have a wild card.
I think the fixtures for 30 are good. But I would be tempted to go game week 30 as your wild card because you could do it over the international break, and I think a lot of injuries occur because of the international break, so you'd be relatively safe as a result of that. I would see. I know you activated your wildcard pretty early, didn't you, to get in the players that you wanted? But I would almost be tempted to not put the wildcard on until I know who's injured, who's not in my team, and then base it off of that because I could get away with having that team that I've got right now for one more game week after 29. So 30 is a sensible choice. I
think 31 is. I would play 31 just because the fixtures, the game week 29 players have very good fixtures in 30 for the most part. Like Leeds have Sheffield United. So if you've got a lot of Leeds boys right now, you're going to want to keep them. Even though Leeds are in such desperate form right now, I think having a Rafinha, having a Bamford is not a problem. A lot of people are selling Bamford right now, which is understandable given not a lot of returns and that potential injury. But I think he'll be my captain game week 30 against Sheffield United without a doubt. They looked so poor against Leicester. They never conceded over 3 goals under Chris Wilder, and then the first game without him, losing 5-0 to Leicester with Iheanacho of all people scoring a hat trick. I don't think that's a smart move, getting rid of all the Leeds boys right now.
Yeah, Azpilicueta for Cancelo, I'd say yes. Azpilicueta is nailed in that Thomas Tuchel team. Cancelo is not nailed in that Pep Guardiola team, and he will either return you big Cancelo or absolutely nothing. And Azpilicueta almost guaranteed 6 points a week, isn't it, from clean sheets?
Yeah, and just the way Chelsea play is just so negative, just sideways. I've got a lot of Chelsea friends who are fans, and they just hate the way that they're playing right now. Hopefully it will pick up sooner rather than later, but you almost guarantee clean sheets with that Chelsea team, which is great from FPL's perspective.
Yeah, any midfielder for game week 29, any price, because Salah has to go. I mean, for this game week, you're looking at one of the Spurs boys, maybe. One of the, I don't know.
It's just not. That's the issue this week. There's just no there's no people out there. I
would go differential. If you're going to go anywhere, differential. Just picks. You're almost best off blindfolding yourself and just going bang. I'm choose that one.
That is game week 29. I think Lookman though. I think if I had the space to get him in, I think I'd go get Ademola Lookman in. He's like, I think 4th highest for shots in the last few game weeks. So he looks good. Leeds defensively are always poor. So make sure maybe to get a Fulham attacker in. Obviously, you got Josh Maja in, but a lot of people are saying, like, where's he going to start? Because obviously he got left out against City. It's going to be interesting to see what side Scott Parker plays against the Leeds.
He'll play Maja. He'll definitely.
That's what you hope, anyway.
This Parker playing City, it's just like a free hit, isn't it? Like, just sit back and try and get a point. Is what you got to do. So I can see what he's doing, but yeah. Kieran says, but my least favourite goalie starting on the weekend. We were talking about João Virginia in his live watch along, and how he was the worst keeper in Reading's history, pretty much.
He's the new number 1 for Everton now.
Yeah, probably won't be for long. I'm not going to lie. We'll take a couple more questions. Thoughts on Leicester defence, mainly Fofana?
They got some decent fixtures going forward. Obviously, they don't play in 29, so you don't want to bring them in this week. But Fofana is one of those who will just tick along clean sheet wise. He will not get attacking returns. We haven't seen any real threat from him from set pieces. We see him bursting up the pitch and running like 70 yards with the ball to push the team upfield, but nothing too crazy. Ricardo Pereira has been a bit of a trap. We've seen Leicester concede a lot. Well, not a lot, but concede almost every game. Just the 1 goal. So I don't know. I think there's better defences out there. For me right now, the best defenders to own would be Ruben Diaz, Luke Shaw, Aaron Cresswell, and then as Chelsea defender, preferably Azpilicueta if you have the money. So I think they're the best for me. I don't know if I'd really stray away from those 4 too much.
Yeah, I don't know. The Leicester defence is probably good if you want to rise up the leagues a little bit and want to take a pump because they're lower owned. I think Pereira, even when Leicester keep a clean sheet, he's been subbed off at half time. And that's something you got to consider now because he's almost not guaranteed to get a full 90 minutes now, which is crazy. So, yeah, the Leicester players are a risk, but if you think it's worth taking, go for it because what have you got to lose, really? It could go really well and Leicester could go on a really good run of form and not concede, and then you'd be laughing, wouldn't you?
Yeah, exactly.
We'll take one more question?
Yeah, we're gonna do one more and then wrap it up.
Yeah. All right, we'll do this one. Digne replacements.
Yeah, I think it's sort of similar, isn't it, to what we just said with the Leicester boys. I think what is he around 6 million, Digne? So you can pretty much get anyone that I just named in. I think going forward, you're probably going to look for Chelsea ones. They just looked great at the back. There's nothing else to be said there. attacking returns is a bit not quite there with them. I think if I was to go with a cheaper option, I'd probably go Christensen. He seems almost nailed on right now. He looks actually quite good as well. As Carefree Lewis G would absolutely be loving me here.
Yeah, he would. I'm sure he's probably going to scroll through this, find it, and it's going to be all over Twitter timeline, something like that. Yeah. I'm going to go a little bit different with Dino replacement, something that is not going to be as high owned, but I'm going to go Liverpool defender. And I'm going to say that I know they conceded chances against Wolves, but they did look a lot better than they have done in recent weeks defensively. They're starting to gel as a defensive back line, and they're starting, to play a little bit better. So
You're stretching this.
I'm stretching it, but I think potentially going forward, Kabak could be a good option. I think Trent or Robbo, potentially. But, I've said it outside the box because could go really badly. And
really
yeah, I don't know. I think they can turn their season around slightly because now they're fighting for top 4. And realistically, that's all they've got left to fight for other than Champions League. But, that if they draw someone in the next round like Bayern, then they're not going to go through, are they? So I'm gonna say a team fighting for the top 4 like Liverpool. We see at the end of the season all the time, these teams that are fighting for top 4 places, they'll go on a run of form and start picking up clean sheets where they haven't done before in the season because they need that top 4. Really, it's the most important thing for any club as big as Liverpool, isn't it? Get top 4. Doesn't matter what else you do in that season, has to be top 4. And I think potentially Klopp can, get that into that Liverpool defence, that these mistakes now have to be eradicated because otherwise they won't be playing Champions League next season. So, yeah, it's a risky pick to go for a Liverpool defence, but I think over the next few weeks potentially could pay off.
It is a bold move. It does all depend on that Champions League. If they can push through the round, I think they're a better cup team than they are a league team, in my opinion. I think they can attack the Champions League and potentially go and win it if they really, really knuckle down. I think
that's a bit further. I think that's a bit. He's stretching a bit more than the top 4.
I think it's more likely them winning the Champions League than it is them getting top 4 because I think there's 4 better teams in Liverpool right now, and I think there will be by the end of the season. I don't see them catching. Even against Wolves, they were very lucky to get away with a win there. Penalty should have been given right at the start. Looking at Rube Patricio making a poor save for the goal as well. I think on another day that could definitely go another way. I don't think they look up to their best, but I agree with what you say in terms of they have very good fixtures coming forward, but we've seen Liverpool struggle against the good fixtures. They've lost to the likes of Fulham, Burnley, an endless amount of teams like that. So it's a wait and see for me, but yeah, it's interesting. It's definitely got us divided.
It's got us divided. I'm almost tempted to put one in the wild card. I really am, because I do think that their fixtures just scream out to me. They really do. But yeah, we may as well wrap it up there, because we've been arguing about Liverpool assets. Who would have thought? You think last season we'd be like, yeah, 3 Liverpool assets, why not?
0 now.
Yeah, it is a case of they have to pick their form up now rather than when are they going to do it, So,
yeah, 100%.
Yeah, we'll wrap that one up there. As always, thank you guys for watching. Thank you. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. And I've been Ben.
I've been Josh.
We'll see you guys
later.